Alida. Hi, how are you? Oh, and we also have a new friend. How do you
Yeah,
pronounce your name?
yeah, it's Raghav. So hi
Raghav.
Sean, hi
Raghav.
Lida.
Hi. Hi. How are you? How are you? Nice to meet you. I think we
Okay.
have connected on LinkedIn, right? Right. All right. And actually, we have Josh and Victory as well.
Oh wow,
Today is
it's a big
quite
party today.
quite a meeting. Yes. All right, Raghav. Sorry. So your name is pronounced
It's Raghav.
Ragrath.
Raghav,
Okay, is that right?
Raghav,
Ragath.
Raghav, yep.
Ragath.
Raghav.
All right. Okay. All right. So all right. Very nice to meet you. And we also have
Right.
a
Nice to
yes, also a new developer joining us. Josh. Okay, he's a team member from my company at Immunology in Taiwan. Okay. So all right. So Victory, can you hear us as well?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right.
Apologies. I think my power is out for some reason. It's been out since like 3 a.m. So I'm not sure if my phone is working properly. But
Okay. Okay.
I don't know
All
if you
right.
noticed, and Ragav also joined us today. Hi, Ragav. Thanks for
Yes.
joining.
Yes. We drag out. Thanks. Thanks.
thank you so much. Thanks.
So maybe Victor, you can start. I think maybe with I guess, a quick intro for everyone. And Josh is also here. Josh is from our company, Immunology. All right. So I guess Victor, you like to start?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. We can hear. Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So my computer is like offline completely because everything is on my computer. But I was hoping perhaps today we can do some sort of a crash course into what exactly we're doing, as well as sort of get to knowing the developers that just joined the meeting today. Is that okay?
Okay. Sure. Sure. I think that's fine.
Um,
That's great.
okay. First things first. Hi, Josh. Nice to meet you. Hi, Alida. Thanks for joining again. Morning, Professor Herman. So as you guys may already know, you might have been given a bit of breakdown. What we are trying to basically build, there's a library called VAST, right? And this library, Union, who you call this library was basically created to be a highly scalable solution for a virtual world. So we're talking about games like, Minecraft, for example, where there's positional updates. And at the time when it was being developed, the idea was creating a bit of a like an open source, highly scalable, publish subscribe architecture for Minecraft, right? And I mean, from what I noticed from the results were quite cool. It did work in terms of, it was highly scalable, it was decentralized, the decentralization worked. There was a bit of forwarding in it. But the challenge with this library was, it was developed in C++. It's not really a challenge. It's just it was developed in C++. And also it was not developed with arbitrary data in mind. So, for example, you couldn't use it for something like, text messaging or point-to-point chat. So lots of students before me have worked on this project where there was someone, for example, who tried to migrate the code to JavaScript. And the idea was to make it more accessible to a wider audience because JavaScript has become a major thing in the current world we live in, right? So this person has, I'm sorry, there's been some development work done in the past. The JavaScript code, which is currently what I'm sort of working on now, trying to build on that. This JavaScript code was developed to do some special public, but again, I think it was built to cater for the virtual world or so we have to look at it as, okay, wait a minute. In the current world we're living in, things are growing, right? IoT nodes are growing at an exponential level. The need for highly scalable solutions have become more and more required today. There's a sense of the centralized server is way too expensive to maintain on a Google scale, for example. And say if I was a developer and I wanted to compete with Google, I would have to have the might and the financial means like Google to compete with them, which is slightly, discouraging for an upcoming entrepreneur, for example. And we are saying, okay, why don't we just create an alternative? And an alternative in our case is, okay, what if we created this open source library where we have this network of devices, and this network of devices are interconnected using this vast library, and vast library uses something called the Voronoi overlay, the Voronoi overlay network. And this Voronoi overlay is basically what does the partitioning to do it such that, each node in this network is not overloaded by what do you call it? It's not overloaded by too many connections to one node, for example. There's this even distribution, and this network is sort of developed such that it can work in real time. So that as nodes move, for example, their positions are being shared as well. And now what we are trying to do at the moment is, okay, we want to get the prototype out. Prototype testing, working prototype. I wanted to do in the months ago was, if we just created a front-end application. In our case, we decided, what if we just created a chat app example, or say an Uber app where this front-end application is going to be a library on the back end to communicate. So we're thinking stuff like group chat, for example. You have a network of users in a network of users in a specific area, and what basically text network. So group chat, for example, is
Hi, Victory. I think you're breaking up a bit. The voice has been discontinuous. All right, Herman.
Yes,
Herman, would you like to maybe take it from there, and maybe
I'll
also give some background and intro for everyone?
Cool. I'll do that. So
Yeah, thanks.
So basically, the basic idea is we have spatial. I think everyone is familiar with the concept of publish subscribe paradigm. As we have in Twitter, Facebook, all these kind of things. And essentially, what Shunyun, as part of his work on peer-to-peer MMOGs a couple of years ago, developed this concept of that you don't use the topic information to do the message filtering and forwarding, but you basically do it based on spatial information. So in other words, a client would be able to say, I want to subscribe to receive all messages in a certain area. And then if someone publishes a message, instead of saying I'm publishing this to the temperature channel or the traffic channel or whatever, what you're doing is you're saying I'm publishing it to a certain location, and any subscribers whose subscription area overlaps the publication area, they would basically get a notification or receive the publication. So it's actually a simple concept in the sense that we just want to add a spatial component to publish subscribe, and that's why it's called spatial pub sub or spatial publish subscribe. And one of the areas where when Shunyun developed the idea initially, the area where we wanted to use it was for online games, and we have implemented the sort of a very crude proof of concept using Minecraft. Master student did that a couple of years ago, and at the moment what we're doing is we are trying to develop a library so that basically so that you could use something instead of if you use something like MQTT, which is a well-known PubSub library for IoT devices, that you can basically, instead of just doing normal topic-based PubSub, you can also do spatial-based PubSub. So that's the one aspect of the project. The other aspect of the project is we also want to build a system so that it's very scalable, and that's why we're looking at a distributed spatial PubSub implementation, so that instead of having some central servers in a database somewhere or in a data center somewhere, we want to base it on a peer-to-peer implementation where you can basically just add more peers to the system, and they self-configure and they route the messages amongst themselves without there being some kind of a central server or central database through which all the messages are routed. So that's in short the idea of what we want to try and achieve. I don't know if there's any questions from Josh or Rogal at this stage.
Is it all right? I mean, any questions? As
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Awesome. So as I converse with Victory, and also like I listen to every conversation, so I really like the idea about the WASP, so how it works and all. So like introducing myself, so my name is Raghav Dhingra, and I am currently interning at USEX. So I have also as a hobby, so on the side I design IoT devices, and also like I used to work with different web technologies integrating with the IoT stuff. And when I just listen to the idea about how WASP works, so it really has a great concept. So while we integrate it into the IoT devices and how we operate it through the like our other devices, and like as per the concept, so yeah, it's like the area wise transmission, like the data transmission within a particular area. So that's the pinpoint that I am going through. So yeah, like the one idea that I'm stuck upon is as I have converts with Victory, like currently I was using MQTT in my IoT device. So basically I have made a project, like I have used a simple Wi-Fi modules and integrated into a car, and then I have made a small web application through which we can control that IoT device. And I have used MQTT as a protocol, but the main, like the problem that I am facing is like MQTT is not supported on the browser side. So when we like we only have the HTTP type of protocol on the browser side, so we cannot communicate directly to the IoT device. But we have to we should have a layer of HTTP over the MQTT protocol. So it definitely make it a heavyweight library to use over the browser side. So if we can trigger a way to like reduce that particular weight of the whole library to a small instance, so like we can definitely move it to a large scale. And also like when I was using the MQTT protocol, so I was experiencing a 120 ms of latency while I was clicking on the button on the browser, and after 120 millisecond, so a moment appears in the IoT device.
So if I understand you correctly, so you are interested in using MQTT as kind of as a transport layer for HTTP traffic.
So
and
I was just comparing like if I used WASP in that place, so how it can be affecting that whole system.
Okay.
So
cool.
So I
Victory?
think just to add, sorry about that, my network just simply just disappeared. But I think what it was basically, and I think we discussed this as well, was that the MQTT protocol, when he used it, it didn't have like this extra HTTP like support for browsers. It had like a WebSocket, if I'm not mistaken, interface, and I think he had to create extra layer of HTTP interface to integrate it with the browser. So I think what he was saying was like there's a concern around using MQTT in a front end application, for example. It's like a factor to consider when using it with a graphical, like a browser based project, for example.
Okay.
Just
okay.
yeah.
That's a good question. Yeah. So is Raghib, are you saying that MQTT is not directly usable on the browser? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, all right. So you're right. I mean, if that's the case, then MQTT, as I understand, it probably provides a backend for supporting PubSub, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, what you need to do is basically to have the browser to talk to the backend, right? And to support, so kind of like in a client server fashion. Okay, is that all right?
Yeah.
And to answer your question, how VAST fits into this, I guess the more direct answer is we are thinking of using VAST. Okay, so what it essentially does is, kind of provide extending the channel-based PubSub to spatial PubSub. Okay, and so the idea would be to wrap that inside some kind of open source MQTT implementation.
Yes.
Okay, as a subcomponent. So is that understandable?
Yeah.
And also what we like to do is to also extend the MQTT interface a bit to support spatial PubSub as well, in addition to the original channel-based PubSub. Okay, so is that also understandable? Also understood?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah. So I was looking like how whether the browser will support the VAST library as a lightweight medium through data transmission.
Oh, I see. Okay. So in this scenario, I think it doesn't directly support. Okay, the browser will have to talk to some kind of server. Okay, probably an MQTT-like interface for the most of the functionalities. Okay, I don't know if this answers, but I'd like to add one point, which is if we were to do the VAST implementation in JavaScript, pure JavaScript only, okay, then there is a possibility that because browser also runs JavaScript, right? It's the browser language.
Right.
So it's actually possible. This is an interesting technical possibility to run a VAST library inside the browser. Okay, and actually have it become kind of a peer-to-peer system sort within the browser environment. Okay, does that make sense?
That's what I'm looking upon, like having a peer-to-peer like data transmission at any of the browser or IoT device.
Right. So this is the part I think that's going to be exciting, if this can be supported, because then you can actually run some kind of peer-to-peer overlay with browsers as the environment. Okay. All right. Okay. But I think but we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Okay. Because in terms of the roadmap, I think at this stage, what we need to do is to get a simple working implementation first. Okay. That can actually validate the main architecture that it works. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I also like to ask Josh, are you following the conversation so far? Is it so far understandable for Josh? Or I don't know, 70, 80%? Josh, can you feedback a bit, or is there any question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear. Yes.
About 80%.
Okay, okay, nice, nice. I think that's very good. Okay, I mean English is not our native language, so okay. All right, but Josh is very brave to join into this. Josh is also and Josh, is there any question you have?
Mm, nothing
I
for
guess.
now.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. So I think just a final note. Sorry, I mean just like a summary note. I also like to point out, since this is the first time, you know, like this first sync, we have everybody here. Just like to point out, this all started, you know, back in 2003, a bit of history, when I started my master. But the real goal was to enable the metaverse infrastructure. Okay, so probably heard of metaverse, and you know, in movies like The Matrix, or more recently Ready Player One. Okay, I don't know if you guys have seen that, but essentially, this can pave potentially for as a foundation block for the future metaverse. Okay, so just like, and also potentially a decentralized version of the Uber service, especially as mobile devices are becoming more and more and IoT devices. Okay, so we're expecting there's going to be a surge of spatial data. And that is why trying to find a scalable, more decentralized, but also affordable and potentially public infrastructure for this is going to be, we believe, very important. Okay. All right. So I think maybe Victory, as because Victory now is the project team leader, the project manager of Bali. Maybe you can share a bit about your thoughts as to what the next steps and how we should work. Okay, and is there like any basic next step for everyone?
Okay. So at the moment, very very code or development friendly people. So a huge chunk of the work at the moment is that at the development and implementation side of things. I think I told Raghav as well, I'm not the greatest coder in the world. But like developers, I think the key next steps would be to sort of map out at least what sort of what needs to be done, and sort of specific specific, for example, with regards to the implementation side of things. I don't know if you guys are free after this session, maybe later today or tomorrow. I don't as well just about the development perspective to map out the components, the front end side, for example, which has to do with the application, and then we have the.
Okay, all right. I think we lost Victoria again. All right.
So I think what he was saying was he was asking whether some people would be available to basically have a meeting to discuss what the various parts are that are being developed at the moment.
Okay.
So I can, I mean, I'm currently looking at the open source MQTT server implementation. It's called AEDES, AIDS or something like that. And looking at basically expanding that to include some spatial PubSub functionality. Victory is at the moment looking at the routing and the forwarding mechanism if we want to have a peer-to-peer spatial pub/sub, so that the brokers can basically forward the messages to the right place, so that the right clients can basically get it. Alida is at the moment working on the JavaScript on the server side, basically handling the spatial pub/sub, basically the ability for clients to subscribe spatially and to publish spatially. She's busy working on that, if I have that correct, Alida. And I think Josh will be working a bit on the what do you call it, the front end, but I think Josh will probably also be able to give some input on the server side implementations as well.
Okay. So, okay, Raghib, Raghib, what would be your main interest, I guess, in participating in this project? I mean, which area do you think you'd like to contribute the most?
Yeah, like I'm currently new to the library, so I like to explore as much as possible. So, like probably this weekend I can look upon the code base and also like how it will be used. And
I see. Okay. Just very quickly, so your experience has been more on the backend side, or the front, or the, I guess, with IoT devices?
like I have more experience in full stack development. So
Okay, full stack.
rather-
I see.
yeah, rather it would
Okay.
be either the cloud development or the backend frontend, and I have a bit experience in IoT.
I see. I see. Okay. So actually, this is actually a bit of my suggestion, I think. Raghib, because you are a full stack, right? I think if you can help us to develop like a full application, okay, that is user usable, okay, I think that would be very helpful, you see? And so that could be some kind of IoT app or some kind of end user app. What we do have now, actually before Josh joins, there's another Taiwanese developer, Wen Hao, who has already done a chat prototype. Okay, it's based on Firebase, and it supports basic user list, and then direct one-to-one chat. Okay, and it's on browser. Okay, so I don't know if that's something you might have an interest to look at, or if you have like another maybe IoT related idea. Okay, but originally we did have the idea that to support a chat like like an instant messenger kind of application, and have 1,000 users to it. Okay, I don't know, has Victory talked to you about this before?
Yeah, like he had told something about having a scalable chat system over the VAST.
Okay, all right. So do you think you might be able to work on that?
Well, like I still have some time restrictions, but yeah, like on the weekends I would be available.
I
So-
see. Great. All right. So I guess this is my suggestion. Okay, maybe Raghib can have a quick survey, okay, of the current code base, and also to maybe try to understand also with the chat, and to evaluate if that's something you can continue to work on. Okay, and I think Josh, actually, because Josh also intends to take on more research kind of study in the future, like taking up a master. So I'm thinking if Josh can get more involved on the library side, okay, like whether it's the forwarding part or like the the spatial pub/sub part, that might suit better with what Josh intends to do in the future as well. Okay, so that's my current 2 cents, and I don't know, what do you think? Is there any feedback from either Victory or Herman?
I think that's a good idea.
Sounds good. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, all right. So I think, how about this? Because today I think it's just like the first initial meeting of everyone get to know each other, and okay. So probably as a next step, I'm thinking maybe Victory, you can try to coordinate a bit about each person's potential task area, like division, and I guess make it more clear for everyone what the next step is. Okay, and we should probably communicate this as and invite, I think, both Josh and Raghib to our Slack. Okay, so that we can have a common communication channel and platform to exchange information and documents.
Okay.
What do you think? Would that be all right?
Yeah, that's fine. Just I did try to take some notes as well, just so I don't forget. And I'll update the Google Drive document just to keep everyone. I'll share a link for Gav as well and Josh with regards to the tracking document that we have every morning.
Okay. All right. So I think get everybody on board to the environment first, right? So that we do have like a asynchronous venue to communicate. Okay. And Raghib, how we right now we are syncing Monday to Thursday. Okay. So like how many times a week do you think you can come online to join us?
Yeah, like I have a meeting from 11 to 11:30, and then from 12:30 to 1. So rather the meeting can be shifted in between times. So that's why it would be somewhat like the time would be wobbling around this time span only. So today got some time spare.
Okay, I see. All right. My suggestions, this is both for Raghib and Josh, because you still have like other work. If you can join at least once a week, to the sync, that would be great. Okay. I mean, if more than one is possible, at least once a week. Okay. If it's not something you can do, I think that would be helpful to get sync up. But otherwise, we can utilize mostly the asynchronous channel of Slack. Okay. All right. So, yeah, Victory, maybe you'd like to conclude?
Just to add on that, we also record all our sessions as well, and I'll basically onboard everyone in that, such that if there's something important, I can just send you a link to the videos. I think I sent you one, Raghav, but we also record our sessions every day, and if need be, we can always share a link to something that might be important, for example. But I don't know. I don't know if you guys heard me when I was asking about basically what everyone's availability is like. Perhaps we can have a session where we either individually or as a team, where we sort of decouple the project from a code basis. That what are the current, for example, with Josh, sort of break down the library, the JavaScript library, what we're trying to do, where we are, and also for maybe Raghav to sort of show you the front-end application. It's already on GitHub, but to just sort of explain what's going on there and how we're trying to map this front-end to our back-end development. But it's sort of down to the availability of everyone. Perhaps you guys can share that with me maybe after the meeting, if that's okay. I don't know if Alida is also available as well. Maybe we can do it sometime between today and Saturday or Sunday. But just let me know how it goes. But I will definitely add everyone to the Slack channel. And
okay,
but yeah,
that should be the first thing. Okay.
I'll just do you mind sharing the emails?
I'll send Josh's to you. Yeah, I will send Josh's. Yeah.
I have Raghav's as well. I don't know if I can add anyone, Professor Hammond, or I think you have admin rights to the Slack channel.
I'm not sure. I have to check, but you can send it to me and I'll add them as well.
All right. I'll just put that on the to-do list. But yeah, I did add some notes and I will update the document and let everyone know once it's updated. The power is still not back yet. I'm not really sure what went wrong. But thanks to everyone for joining. Thanks, Ragav. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Alida.
Yes.
It's exciting.
Thanks so much. Thank you all
Yes,
so
thanks
much.
everyone for joining.
Yes, and really look forward to make this happen.
Thank you so
Okay.
much for inviting me.
All right. So take care. Take care. All right. So we'll have our next sync on Monday. Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
Take care, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye bye. Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye bye.
Bye.